Hello everyone, and I'm just going to creep forward a bit. These impala are ever so slowly browsing out of our view, and I'm really looking forward to my final afternoon and drive with all of you on this live safari. And I couldn't have asked for a better camera lady than Nicola Austin, who I'm teamed up with today. So awesome stuff, Nicki. Good to have you on the back. And we are going to be having some fun this afternoon. We've got exciting plans, and we're going to head over towards where Karula, a female leopard, had her kill. Interestingly enough, it sounds like she's moved her cubs away from that kill. So she was seen moving quite far south away from that kill, moving her cubs away, which is a clever move on her behalf because a hyena came into that area last night. Now, I'm guessing she's going to have nestled the two little cubs somewhere safe, and she's going to probably have come back, or possibly have come back for a meal. So we're going to head across there. It's a very hot afternoon. It's 32 degrees Celsius, which is about 89 degrees Fahrenheit. So not expecting huge amounts of action from the cats early on, but that may well change a little bit later. We've got Jamie out in the other vehicle, and she's teamed up with VM on camera. And for those of you who may be joining for the first time, it will sadly be the first and last time with me as your guide, as I'm going to be leaving along with Nicki, who's been a director here. And she's just getting an afternoon out behind the camera to change things up a little bit. It's happened a couple of times. This will literally be, I think, the third time. So we're really excited about that, but do forgive her if she has any shaky camera moments. And my name is Scott, which is useful if you haven't met before. We've got a whole big bunch of giraffe tracks on the road here, and you can see them all littering the road, heading down in that direction. And off those go. Very good. So we may bump into some giraffe, which would be great. Hello to Ginger, Barbara, and Joyce, who are all looking forward to their last drive with me. Thank you so much for those kind words, and I am told many, many others. So apologies if we haven't mentioned your name. It certainly is bittersweet. We have both loved every second of our Safari Live experience, and a lot of you have been there. A lot of you have been here since long before I started and or Nicki started, and we feel really privileged to have spent the time here, but are excited for whatever future travels we end up doing. And I certainly want everyone on board to try and be as happy as possible. There's no reason not to be. And please let us know your thoughts and comments and questions, and to do so, it's very simple. You can hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or send an email through to questions@wildearth.tv. Awesome. Now, something that's also going to happen this afternoon, we're just going to test drive it and see how Nicki copes, but she is going to jump behind the wheel and I'm going to jump behind the camera. So if any of you would like to send some questions through for Nicki to answer, please do so, and you'll get to hear her thoughts about that later. So that's also something exciting. That will be a Safari Live first. Nicki has never been behind the driver's wheel. She's often said that she's excited to do it, so today is the test of time. Very happy memory on this termite mound. Some of you will remember it was my first afternoon back from leave. I think it was the last leave, and we were driving down this road just as we were. I'm going to just reverse and simulate as we saw. We saw her from about here, just perched right on the side of the mound there, and then she continued across the road and did some stalking and hunting of impalas. Just going to check something on Nicki's camera quickly. Is that iris on auto? Yeah. Bang that up a little bit. With the bright glare, it's appeared like Nicki's shot was a little bit bright. There we go. The cameramen have been teaching me a few of their tricks as they go. Very good. Okay, well, we are going to be sending you across to Jamie Patterson so she can let you know her plans. We'll probably be about 4 or 5 minutes until we get to the position where Karula has left a young kudu kill hoisted up in a tree, and let's hope that she's going to be there waiting for us when we get there. Time will tell. Off to Jamie.
And a very good afternoon to all of you. And on this very sad last day for all of us here at WildEarth, for Scott and Nicki, it does hold exciting prospects for both of them, so we shall try not to weep too much on our drive. But definitely a very sad moment for all of us. And I hope that Karula does decide to come out so that Scott can bid her farewell for now. A temporary goodbye, I hope. In the meantime, this afternoon, I'm following up on reports of the Nkuhuma Pride that apparently, according to Scott, when he was out on tracking team with Nicki, their tracks were around Red Dam on Arathusa. Now, they tried to follow up. They didn't have any luck. I'm going to try and see if on this blistering hot 32-degree, 89-degree Fahrenheit day, there might be any sign of lions sleeping in the shade. Because if I were a lion, that is exactly what I would be doing. Oh, Red Dam. Not so much red as very bright, almost virulent green from the algae sitting across the top of it. Let's see, do we see lions in the shade? Apparently they didn't cross into Simbambili. They were around here somewhere, so keep your eyes peeled for flicking ears and flicking tails. That would be a nice afternoon start. Let's pop our noses down. See if we can see at least some sign of their tracks, or maybe where they decided to walk off to after they had a drink. Down we go. This is the first time, actually, that I've driven Wendy I've been trying to work it out. I think the last time I drove Wendy was Big Cat Week, so it's nice to be back on board as well. Just checking very carefully in the shade. I don't want to risk losing your signal by going all the way to the back. On days like today, tawny shapes of lions hidden and lying down in the shade can be tricky things to spot. But I think our next step, well done, Wendy. Our next step is to go and check the drainage lines, see if we can find them in the shade. So for new viewers, when I talk about the Nkuhuma Pride, I'm talking about a pride of 5 lionesses, 2 adults and a sub-adult that I think has nearly earned classification as an adult. She's coming up to about, I would say, probably about 2.5, 3. So she'll be having her first litter of cubs in the next year or so and officially graduate into adulthood. Apparently, while I was away, you all got to finally see one of the Birmingham boys as well. They've been spending plenty of time around Cheetah Plains, but one of them decided to pop onto Djuma and come and visit. Just checking very carefully down in the shade in the drainage line. As I said, it is blisteringly hot. There's a little bit more groundwater than there was when I left, so they might have decided to move on further. But I'm hoping they've stuck around this area. Doesn't seem as though they have crossed into Simbambili. These drainage line systems are a perfect hiding place for cats to lie in the shade. Viv and I were just talking about the one afternoon that we shared around at Red Dam. which I still think has to be one of my most incredible sightings to date, which was when Karula and Tingana were mating here a couple of months ago. And the Salala Pride were actually feeding off a buffalo carcass that had fallen into the drainage line. And Tingana and Karula had originally been feeding on that. The two mating leopards had originally been scavenging that carcass. And they decided to make their way back there after morning spent mating, and they weren't really paying attention. And there was a very, very close call between Tingana and Karula and the young Salala lion males. And they chased Karula up into the tree, the knobthorn around Red Dam. Quite a fascinating sighting. It was very stressful for a brief moment. Luckily, the leopards, despite the number of distractions around, were on their toes and aware of what was going on around them. Come on, Nkuhumas. Lots of water here. The other thing about being away for a while is that you sort of lose track as to what's going on with the animals. Usually when we're out every day, twice a day, you're aware of, for example, when the Nkuhumas are looking hungry or when they're very full, if they're going to be hunting and taking the opportunity, or if they're just going to settle and spend their day lying up in the shade somewhere. At the moment, I don't know exactly how hungry the Nkuhumas are when last they ate. I'm also checking the area quite carefully for any predatory birds, so birds of prey, as well as vultures. And if we see any of them sitting in the trees, either with leaves or on the dead trees, and patiently watching the ground below them, then we'll know that that's where the Nkuhumas are hiding. She trotted away fairly quickly. There she is. Hey, girl. I thought maybe she was looking a bit jumpy and a bit nervous, but it was just because she wanted to cross the road ahead of us, I think. Oh, you saw that giant buffalo herd with James this morning. Buffalo herd is not a quiet thing. So I think if we don't have any luck around Red Dam, we might want to try and follow up on those buffalo and see whether the lions haven't decided to come and have a go and try and follow them for later this evening. In the meantime, while I continue my search for the Nkuhumas, let's cross back over to the gorgeous Scott Dyson and gorgeous Nicki Austin and find out what they're up to.
Welcome back. Now, somewhere in this beautiful big jackalberry tree, I'm told, is a kudu carcass. It initially looked like a impala kill, but James tells me that it was in fact a kudu. So at first glance, it doesn't look like anything's in there. Let's take a closer look. And we want to check kind of in the forks of the trees. That's where something will probably be wedged, maybe a little bit lower down. I don't know. It'll be quite hard. Oh, what's that there? There we go. There, you can ever so vaguely make out a hoof. And great work on your focusing there, Nix. That was your first real challenge of the afternoon. And there you can see the tiny little hoof of an unfortunate kudu. Now, I thought that we'd come down here. We are down in the riverbed. And I thought I'd come down here because I thought maybe we'd find Karula sleeping in the cool, shady areas in front of us here. No sign of her, though. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue around, and she could be lying up on the bank somewhere. Yesterday afternoon, I know she was lying up on the bank. I think somewhere right up there where you're looking now. At least when I popped in very briefly yesterday afternoon, that is where we saw her lying down. I wonder where the cubs were. They were somewhere here. There's two tiny new cubs and some perfect hiding places in there. Little gaps in the roots there. So they survived another night, and every single night that they do survive from here on in, they're going to be a lot closer to making it to adulthood. They've definitely survived our probably the hardest few weeks of being a leopard cub, and those are the first few weeks. They're about 5-6 weeks old now. So Karula has been doing a good job keeping, and we are guessing that that is exactly why she was seen crossing south out of Djuma this morning, taking them somewhere safe, and I'm fairly certain she is going to. Hello to Country West, and thank you very much for sharing your first memory that you had with me, and that was on your first drive, obviously, and as we drove around a corner, we bumped into a big male lion. I'm guessing it was maybe one of the Matimba males, and ever since then, you've been hooked, and that's such great news. Thank you for sharing that with me. And we've got some more great news. Nicki just smiled, pointing up ahead, and I think she may have seen something. Look who it is. It's Karula, the Queen of Djuma, panting very, very heavily. But I don't blame her. Like I said, it's an exceptionally hot and humid afternoon. And imagine having that beautiful coat to contend with in this weather. Okay, well, that's wonderful news. And now, let's just try and get ourselves into a good spot. Just there. And thankfully, Nicki's a little bit more elevated than me, and her face is in a perfect little gap of this buffalo thorn tree in the foreground. Hello, Jack. You would like to know if Karula isn't far out of her territory here. And no, Jack, I don't think so. Her territory basically encompasses the entire portion of Djuma, which is around 1,200 hectares. There's maybe small fringes of it that her daughter Shadow occupies, and maybe another female to the north. Unlike humans, who often have very square or defined properties, animals may be not so rigid, and I think that is certainly the case with her. Also, always changing, you know, depending on her needs and the needs of other leopardess, there will be huge fluctuations in their territory over the years. But right now, we are fairly close to the central parts of Djuma, so she's comfortably within her territory, which is critical during this stage of her raising her cubs. It would be hugely unwise of her to try and raise cubs in another leopardess's territory, because if that other leopardess did come across her cubs, she would kill them. Speaking of which, next, are you fully zoomed there? I think you might be. I was just wondering if we couldn't see any possible nursing rings or suckle rings, but I certainly can see a nipple. It's just above the horizontal branch, very close to the kind of crook of her leg there. You can just see a very light caramel spot in that white fern. Within that there's a little nipple, but on a hot day like this, you may have found she's left the cubs early this morning, filled them up with milk, and then she subsequently come back here, and that's why her nursing rings may not be as evident at the moment, because they would have dried out and that fur would have unruffled itself and become a little bit more fluffy. Hello to Angie and Becky, and it's great to have you on board with us. You would like to know, how long will a leopardess leave its cubs for? It's a great question, and I fear that not many people actually know the correct answer to that, because as we've experienced with this fine mother, leopardess can be hugely extra secretive when they do have cubs, and therefore we don't know exactly what happens with them. But what I can tell you from my experience is that 12 hours to 24 hours is certainly a length of time that a leopardess may leave its cubs for. That's just my opinion. I have seen leopardess move a long distance away from cubs, make a kill, feed on that kill, stay there during the day if the kill was far from the den, in order to not waste energy backwards and forwards just in order to nurse the young. So they're tough little critters, leopard cubs, regarding how regularly they get fed, I think, because it's critical that she needs to look after herself first, as with any mother, and thereafter, once she's found a next meal that's going to sustain her, then she can worry about sustaining the cubs. So I think 12 to 24 hours at least. Sometimes you may find leopardess even pushing the envelope and maybe leaving them for longer. But I think a lot is unknown regarding these beasts, especially in the wild. Obviously, there may be captive records as to what goes on, but wild leopard, who have the hardships of trying to work out where their next meal is coming from, together with raising the cubs, is not easy, and you can go to sleep, Karula. You deserve a little snooze. Well, good news is that quarantine, a previous offspring of this female leopard, who had a brother called Kunyuma, he's just been found by Andrew. And sadly, it's not on Juma, a little bit to the east, away from us, but happy to hear that one of her 3-year-old sons is doing well. It sounds like he's made a kill as well. So mother and son are in a similar state this afternoon. Hello to Khada, and good to know you are watching. Khada, you've mentioned that the cubs are about 6 weeks old now, and would like to know if this is this age where she will start moving with them from the den. And Khada, I think she's been moving with them permanently from the day they were born. Not permanently, but, you know, I think she's had multiple den sites over the last few weeks. I may be wrong, but in those times the cubs will need to move from place to place, and she might carry one while the one walks. Let's see what happens here. Next, we've got some little crested francolins on the scene. And they are heading towards her, and I think she's going to hear them, and we may see a second kill. Oh, no, next, let's check out what she's doing. Sorry, I'm whipping Nicki all over the show here. Oh, no, she's just turned around, turning her back to the francolin, so that's not what we wanted. But she is looking up into that tree, and maybe she's thinking of going for another meal. It's going to be interesting, though, when these crested francolin do see her. The kill's just up in that large tree over there somewhere. I don't think we can see it from here. So, yes, Khada, I think they would have been moving quite a bit up till this point. But like I say, it's just so hard to tell because we haven't seen her, so we don't know what she has been up to. Hello to Britt, who's just mentioned that this is Karula's tea party that she's thrown for Nicki and I after we threw a tea party for Gracie, who was in her very, very beautiful Cinderella dress yesterday for our tea party that we had at the Arathusa Air Traffic Control Tower. Yeah, the little crested francolins. And they seem to be sneaking past Karula unnoticed. Interestingly, I think Karula may perform for us shortly, so I want to get into position. She keeps looking longingly up into that tree. So let's see if we can't get into position and wait for her. Failing that, I mean, at least we'll be able to show you what remains of the kill if she doesn't decide to move up now. And while we go there, I'm just going to update the guys on the radio that she is in fact in this area.
Can I get an update? Good afternoon, Kobe. Very much young, but we're foreign.
We're going to have to do quite a big loop around. No, we won't, actually. We can squeeze through here. So we should get a very good view of this kill that she's made. She made it, for those of you who haven't seen any signs of this kill yet, or haven't joined in on one of the recent safaris, she made this kill sometime, not last night, the night before. She was found yesterday morning. And interestingly, she had dragged this kill at least 50 meters, at least, across a road all the way to this tree in specific. And we could see that drag mark in the sand, where she would have been holding the prey probably by its neck, and then the whole body dragging between her two front legs as she moved. Oof. It's not going to be easy to get you a gap from here. Let's see if we can snap a gap from over here. Whew, the kill's already very smelly. Hello, Betty and Virginia Nix. If you don't mind just turning the camera now so I can see if you're going to have a gap there. There we go. Oh, that was a stall into, I think, the perfect position. And there you can start to make out that lighter shade of coloration there. There's the kill. Not easy to see. There's not too much to see, although you can clearly see the fur there. There's a lot of meat left there, so that's good news for the Queen of Djuma. She's still got lots of food before she needs to worry about her next meal. Hello to Betty, who would like to know if there's any chance that the cubs will start trying to look for her. And I think it's highly unlikely that they would. I mean, those cubs that do, Betty, sadly are going to be the ones not to make it. So generally the process of evolution and genes and genetics will mean that the cubs that do try and perform those stunts are the ones that not make it, like I say. So they're probably just going to be quite well behaved. I'm hoping if they do make a noise and tumble about and roll around from side to side and fight with one another, that is going to create a lot of attention to them and could get them into trouble. I'm going to try and get that radio update through now. Earlier on there was a bit too much traffic on the airwaves. Stations Karula is on site at the Bamba off Twin Dams Road, south of Elephant Carcass.
Okay, copy that. Sometime it's just only one more there.
Yeah, just myself here, Tex. There you can see a different angle of the kill.
Come and join you.
Yes, no problem.
Thank you.
Okay. So, that's all that remains of the kill. I think we should also be able to get a gap of Karula from here. Maybe not, though. We shall see shortly. Ooh. I'm going to have to creep forward just a little bit. Not ideal, but that is the best we'll get for now. Now, there was a hyena in this area this morning. It could well have moved off and just banked the knowledge of the fact that there is a kill here. Obviously, tricky business for a hyena because it cannot climb a tree like this, so absolute torture. And it may be in a nearby mud wallow with the intentions of coming back this evening, and I'm almost certain that later on, as things cool off, there should be some more action here. Yes, Karula, I think some more hyena will be coming, sadly, but you've done a very good job and already got your kill safely hoisted up into the tree. Interestingly, I've spent time in areas where some leopards, one day they'll hoist, the next day they won't. Even with cubs, you know, they'll feed with their cubs on the ground, kill on the ground. Hugely dangerous scenario to be in. You've got your, you know, jaws crunching on bones and you've preoccupied on feeding, and that's when something sneaks up on you. But thankfully she hasn't made the same mistake, at least not today. Hello to Lenny in Pennsylvania. You are wondering about leopard cubs and their ability to survive, and whether or not they're learning, or the sooner they learn to climb a tree, will that kind of guarantee the fact that they'll be able to survive? Sadly not, Lenny. Even the little cubs that she has now probably will be able to climb, not very well though, and even from about 3 months of age, they can climb. And then they are going to be moving from kill to kill. So there they are, time after time, kill after kill, they are going to be exposed to the threats that are associated with kills. And they will be able to climb, but it's like being able to ride a bike during your first week. You may be able to consider yourself a bicycle rider, but not a very good one. And I think the same applies for leopard cubs. They can climb trees, but not very well, not as quickly as they would like. And I would say, once a leopard cub is upwards of 6 months of age, then the future's beginning to look bright. But anything before that 6-month period is an absolute lottery. The odds are sadly stacked heavily against them up till that point. Obviously, every day up to that point, their chances of surviving increase. But only from about 6 months of age would I start being able to think, okay, there's a good chance that these are going to make it. Hello to JD in Maryland. You are wondering about the coloration of these animals, and now that we can see her lying on her side, she sticks out quite easily. And you're wondering, why doesn't her whole coat simply have that more mottled caramel gold coloration with the black rosettes as opposed to the white? And I think it's just, they haven't had, oh, nice big yawn there. I just don't think they've got the reason or need to be able to cover that part of their body or conceal it or change its color, because when they are stalking their prey, that is flat to the ground. So when they are ever looking for food, those parts that ordinarily stick out when they're rolling on their back or lying on their side, they will never really give them away. So even though I guess it wouldn't hurt to just be the same color all around, it's not essential that they are. Ooh, you can probably hear me glugging on some ice cold water. Ooh, it's very refreshing. Now it's Nicki's turn. That's why you can see the camera going up and down. She's trying to drink and camera lady at the same time. Hello to our beard, who would like to know, what is the biggest prey that a leopard would kill? Sure, I'm quite impressed with the Kudu kill that she's made here, our beard. It's quite a big kill for a leopardess. Obviously, male leopards can make far bigger kills than female leopards. And this Kudu, even though it's a youngster, it's not tiny. Difficult to tell from this angle, but it's not a newborn. Could be a couple of months old by now, judging by the angle that we're looking at it from. But yeah, I'd say something up to twice her size is definitely possible. Easily up to twice their body weight a leopard could take on. And not hugely different for the male leopards. I've seen male leopards with adult Kudu kills, and an adult Kudu will weigh upwards of 400 pounds, and a big male leopard will only weigh about 200 pounds on average. So they are said to be one of the strongest cats pound for pound, And I could agree with that. I mean, the mere fact that they can hoist kills of their own body weight, sometimes even slightly more, whilst carrying them in their mouth. I mean, imagine putting something heavy in your mouth, even if it was comfortable, a comfortable grip that you could chew onto, and then have this big weight hanging below your own body weight, and then even climb up a step ladder. I mean, think about that. And that's not going to require any skill. What did I just hear there? Did you hear that, Nix?
I think it was her.
I don't know if, as I turned around, she was completing a growl. Maybe she had a burp mid-growl.
I think it was a burp.
Yeah, it seemed like a burp mid-growl. She would have no reason to let off a growl, but I quickly turned around just to make sure we weren't getting on the wrong side of her. Just like humans, animals can sometimes be a little bit moody. But judging from her behavior now, it doesn't look like that's the case. I'm wondering if she wants to move, because as soon as she does move, and hopefully it's towards this tree to start feeding, we're going to need to reverse to get out the way. But I'm ready for that, so just to keep you guys updated with the plans, we're kind of currently in her way to the kill. She could obviously very easily get around us, but we don't want her to have to do any extra work. Cat and temper. Yes, it's not easy being a leopard mother. Imagine having to leave your newborn offspring away from you in such a dangerous place with no protection, no babysitters, while you go out to try and get the next meal to feed the family. Incredibly, incredibly difficult. And I think us humans often forget how easy our lives are compared to the wild animals. All the assistance and aid we get from doctors and babysitters and general security that we can provide to our youngsters. Well, at least hopefully some of us can, or some of us will be able to in the future. Let's move back a little bit now and see if we can't get ahead into a slightly better spot there. There we go. Ah, Marianne, it's time to get a little photo with Karula in the background. I don't know how we're going to work this out, Nicki. It's not going to be easy. More? Hello? She's too, Nicki doesn't like the lights, apparently.
There you go.
Oh, well done. You see, Marianne, it's difficult with Karula behind all those bushes. You're not going to be able to see her if Nicki's focused on me. But we tried to get that screenshot opportunity with me and my ex-girlfriend over here before Nicki came along. Ruined everything for Karula and I. Shame, look at how heavily she's panting. Trying her best to keep cool. Hello again to Kat, and I hope all is well in Florida. I've spent a short portion of my life there in Fort Lauderdale, scrubbing decks of yachts. It was most fun when I was 18. You would like to know if I've ever seen a leopard kill? Yes, I've seen a few. The first kill I actually ever saw in the wild was a leopard, and the only kill that I've ever managed to share with you here on Safari Live is with this very leopard we're looking at now. She caught and killed a baby impala, who she had actually orphaned. She had caught its mother the night before, and the poor baby impala started calling desperately, hoping that its mother would return its calls, and that alerted Karula to the little lamb's presence. But I think it's the best thing that could have happened to that poor little lamb, because it was obviously going to be suffering immensely without its mother.
It's on the opening title sequence.
Ah, there we go. It's the kill that's captured on the opening title sequence, Cats. Thank you, Nicki. Are you going to get up, Karula? What's all this yawning about? I'm getting ready for her to move. Just a slight reposition, it looks like. Because she is no longer in our view now, I'm going to move back a bit. Texan's just arrived in the sighting as well, with his guests. Cave. Well, very good. Obviously, we'd love to spend the whole afternoon here, but we do need to share, and everything happens for a reason, so we'll go and find some other animals. And come back to Karula, hopefully, when she's a little bit more active. Shame, it appears like Jamie's vehicle's not doing the best regarding signal. It's recently been off at the health spa, and although the engine may be running perfectly now, some of the technical side that gets the broadcast out to you is not. So that's why you haven't seen her for a few moments, but she is in search of signal along with other things. Never did I think in my guiding career that I'd have to worry about searching for signal during a game drive, but that is certainly a price worth having to pay for being involved in this wonderful live safari experience with more people on Earth at safari together at any given time. There's no one else doing this. We are part of a revolution, the safari revolution. Hello to B. Wilson, and thank you so much to all of you who are sharing your memories that we have all shared together with one another. B. Wilson remembers my very first drive, and it was probably, you couldn't have asked for a better way to start off. I got called by Peter Pretorius, who had found a wildebeest that had just started giving birth, and he very kindly brought the vehicle back, got me into it, and said, "Go on, it's time to start your Safari Live career with the wildebeest that's about to give birth," which was very kind of him, and it was a very memorable way to start. It was the first kill that the first birth that I'd ever seen. Interestingly, though, what you wouldn't have known about, and what I've never told you, is that the plan was to head out at, call it 7:30. So Peter was going to do half the drive, and then I was going to do the second half. So I looked at my watch, and it was like 5 to 7. I still had 35 minutes to go, and I thought, okay, well, I need a visit to the lavatorium. And there I was in the lavatorium doing lavatorium things, and I just heard somebody screaming, "Scott, Peter's here, it's time to go." There goes a vervet monkey clambering up this tree. Let's see if it stops in a spot where we can see it. Or is it going to hide out of view? Oh, it looks like there's some more coming. Nix is already on the ones that are on their way here. So, oh, watch this. It's going to jump up onto the tree there. And I think it's decided to clamber up. But, oh, there it goes. Well done, Nix. Nix is making this look a lot easier than it is. I think she is a natural camera lady. Considering this is only her third time behind the weapon, I think she is using it incredibly well. How beautiful is this ginormous jackalberry tree where the monkeys have disappeared into? Let me see if I can't get another gap of them somewhere here. Oh. It's going to be tricky. They're sneaky customers, these vervet monkeys. And Andreen, I'm glad you agree with me that Nicki is indeed a natural camera lady. Have I got you in a gap there, Nix? I don't necessarily think so.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, well done. Peekaboo. Oh, what you snacking on? You sucking on a little seed there.
Good afternoon.
Yummy.
This is a routine update.
It's not uncommon for them to kind of hide and just keep an eye on you peeking around the corner. I'm sure there's more than just the two that we saw disappear up into this tree. The rest of the troop could be elsewhere. Okay, very good. So now, to give you guys an idea of how far Karula did move the cubs, I mean a minimum, from the moment we've left that kill, we've been driving directly south, and we're probably going to have moved about a quarter of a mile by the time we get to our southern boundary. I'll say at least a quarter of a mile from the kill directly south, and that is where she was seen crossing. She probably walked down this riverbed that's flowing below us here, and who knows how far she took them into the next property. Have a look here, Nix. We got you. Your friends weren't as obliging as you. Nicki's keeping you guys in suspense there with a delayed focus. That's a new technique we're trying here.
Sorry.
Hello, you. Look at how awesome this is. You can... Oh! Oh, no ways, Nix. I'm going to have to creep forward a little bit. Take a look at the ones below it on the next branch down, Nix. Below. Look at that one sleeping like a leopard. It is chilling out. Not a worry in the world. Oh, it looks like it just got up there. But it was lying down like a leopard earlier. So this looks like the rest of the troop. Got a slightly better view of this one as well. This one's mouth is full. Its cheeks aren't supposed to look like that. It has stuffed its cheeks absolutely full of some kind of food that it's ever so slowly chewing on. So there we go. You saw seed fall out its mouth. Now keep watching. It's just going to keep doing that. What is it you're feeding on? It could be the fruits from this tree, the jackalberry tree or ebony tree, but I can't be certain. Oh, Nicki just did a little focus pull there onto the other monkey in the background. We certainly don't get to spend as much time as we would like to with our primate cousins, and it was really wonderful to see that one lounging about in the tree there, and also to see these others nibbling on whatever fruit they've jammed full into their jaws. Okay, well, we're going to probably push on now. I'm thinking of maybe slipping onto our eastern boundary and then shooting up to the Buffalo's Hook waterhole to see what's going on there before making our way back to Karula. And the good news is Jamie has found you some other animals that she would like to show you.
I had some signal. I also had some Inyala to show you, but unfortunately, while Scott has found leopards and monkeys and all manner of fascinating things to show you, Wildy and myself have found 3 Inyala that are now gone. So we've done exceptionally well for this afternoon's work. Their fluffy tails disappearing into the bush. Let's see if we can try and get another view, but I don't think so, unfortunately. Now, it was back in the day when I came across for the job interview. It was before Steph started at WildEarth as the operations manager. So I think at that point, Scott was in charge of organizing my arrival. And he phoned me and gave me the most confusing, I think officially, and I've been directed to a lot of places, he gave me the most confusing directions I have ever been given in my entire life to come and find Gowrie Gate and to find Juma. And I remember being completely and utterly terrified and intimidated by this whole prospect. And then I met him and Nicki very, very briefly just before my interview, and then they rushed off to go on leave. Now, my initial introduction to Scott was very brief. Let me just pull over. This is good news. I might be able to find out. I think the guys have found Shadow. I think I heard something like that on the Game Drive channel. I just want to see if I can find out where exactly she is. How's it?
Hello.
Hello, hello. Hi.
Hi, I'm Harry.
I'm Jamie. Nice to meet you, Harry.
Nice to meet you, James.
Do you know where they've got Shadow? Or how's it? Sorry. You no idea where they've... Okay. I'll see if I can find out for some of the guys. I can't hear on the Game Drive comms. Cool. Okay, no. All right. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye. New guide at Nkoro, whose name is Ari. So I think that they found Shadow somewhere around. It sounded to me like they'd found her on Simbambili, but it was a little bit difficult to hear the update. So I'll try and get hold of that information for you and keep you updated. Of course, all of us are now wondering, after Karula and her wondrous cubs, whether or not there's a possibility that Shadow has had cubs as well. As far as I know, nothing's been discussed amongst the guides, but it was definitely, or at least nothing's been...
I'll tell James a story.
Please do, Mr. Kidd and Mrs. Kidd, and the rest of you have a wonderful safari. Hello, everyone. We're just having a chat with Taxon's guests, and it turns out I know one of the couple's sons. So what a bizarre place and what a small world it is. Okay, guys, good luck and wonderful to meet you. Enjoy the rest of your safari.
And your new venture.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Make sure you log in and send through some questions. You get prioritized if you're an ex-guest. Cheers, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Wow, what a crazy coincidence. We just started chatting and they asked how they can find out more about these live safaris and where they can tune in. And then the one guest asked about James. He said, "Is James your competition?" And I was like, well, not really. We're all part of the same team. And then it turns out that James and one of the couple on that vehicle's sons, a guy called Jay, another James, worked together at Londolozi. And I also know James, the other James, not the one we all know. So it was wonderful just to chat with them. Sorry about Jamie's signal. That's why you did get rushed back to us. And Jamie's regaling you guys with her first memories of Juma. And next quickly. Have you got it? Look at this. This is the best view ever of an African green pigeon. Look at how smart the colors are on this bird. And their Afrikaans or Dutch name, papegaai duif, is a very wonderful and descriptive word meaning parrot dove, which describes it very well. It's a fruit eater, and they are usually very, very secretive. Look at the bright yellow legs, that big white eye, bit of pink on its beak, and certainly the best view that I've ever got of one of these birds with you. And that is the beauty, again, of being on these live safaris. You just don't know what you're going to see and when. And even though I've seen this bird countless times with you, this view is spectacular. Kindly being brought to you by Nicola Austin. Well done, Nicki. She's very focused now, making sure she doesn't lose focus. Janet in Baltimore. You would like to know about the bird feeder that I made last year, the nectar feeder. I made a video about it, which was probably the first mistake, because I thought it was going to be far more popular amongst the birds of this area than it actually turned out to be. It was never visited. I did give up filling it up with my rooibos tea and sugar mix. That was the nectar concoction that I was making for them. And what I can tell you is that those nectar feeders do take time to grow on the birds. They don't understand exactly what they are initially, and I don't think I tried for long enough. But I will be taking it maybe on my future endeavors with me, and hopefully I will get it operational somewhere, and I'll be able to show you guys some videos of it working at a later stage. All of my kind gestures towards the birds of Djuma have failed. My nectar feeder being the first, and my very high-end luxury cavity in a tree, which was designed as a nest site for the cavity nesting birds. The only creature that's been seen in it so far is a squirrel, and it wasn't even by me. I think James Henry saw that. So at least something spent at least a few minutes within that cavity, but in general it hasn't been hugely successful. Great. Well, I'm so happy we got the view of that beautifully colored papegaai, Dave. They've got a wonderful, wonderful call, the African green pigeon. But I don't think it's going to make it with us so close by. Hello to Alan in New York, and thank you so much for getting a hold of us. You mentioned that you don't send through questions very often, and there's no problem with the silent safari ninja that simply enjoys being on the vehicle but not chatting too much, so no worries there. Thank you though for letting us know that the first question you did ever send through to Safari Live was answered by me, and just little comments like that it's made me so happy to know that. And I guess it's not just about the questions then. Any kind of interaction you can let us know about is much appreciated. So thank you for that, Alan, and I hope all is well in New York. One thing I forgot to mention is that the last half an hour of the safari will be sat around a campfire. And really looking forward to that. We're going to be playing a few clips, some of which I have seen, others which I haven't. So I'm really excited to see those, obviously. And I would love you guys to all join in on that adventure. We have been a bit lazy for various reasons. Maybe lazy is the wrong word, because that's not entirely the case, but we've been a little bit maybe underprepared for the Fireside Chats, but we usually do them every Sunday night for the last half an hour of the safari. So for those of you who have only joined the Safari Live experience fairly recently, that may be something that changes going forward. Also, please don't forget to send through your questions that are going to be asked to Nicki. The next time you come back to us, you may be getting taken around on a wild safari by Nicola Austin herself, with me hanging on to the camera desperately.
And unfortunately, my luck persists, it seems, on Arathusa. So far, I've seen probably about 3 impala and those 3 inyala. Every time I try and stop for a bird, it flies away. All the lizards are dashing away from me. I think it's time I go back and try my luck elsewhere. No signs so far of the Nkuhumas and no updates from any of the other guides as to their whereabouts, and no information yet on shadows. So as soon as I find out something about that, I promise I'll let you know. But that's interesting because there's buffalo walking quite far across in front of us, and it could well be the stragglers of one of the herds. Now, the reason I say that's interesting is this is exactly where the Nkuhumas or their tracks were last seen going into. They could well be following behind that buffalo herd, and I think it's a good idea for us to follow up and find out where they're going. And one very confused warthog following behind them as well, apparently. We'll catch up with them on the other side. I just want to see what this impala's stopped for. She's listening. She was listening intently off to her right, our left. Does seem very nervous and very separate from the rest of the herd. I wonder what she's seen. No, she's relaxed again. Pays to be an attentive animal out here. Here the warthog families crossing the road. And I think they're on their way. I'm fairly certain they're on their way towards that mud wallow on Impala Plains, so we'll catch them there. And while we do that, while we loop around them, Jack was wondering whether or not we get any boom slugs in this area. And Jack, we do, absolutely. I think we've had a couple of really, really enjoyable boom slug sightings. I know at least one of those was on a walk. I can't remember which presenter it was with. Might have been... Brent definitely had one, and I think James might have as well. Fascinating, beautiful snakes, one of my favorites. Hello, gorgeous. Please stay. Hello, beautiful boy. This stunning male kudu. Sorry, Jack, I'll get back to your boom slug question. Definitely one of our more magnificent kudu bulls. I love the way they do that. They pick a tree to hide behind, like we can't in that way. This is the one with the tightly coiled horns. We've seen him along with Zeus, the widespread horned kudu, on a fairly regular basis in this area. There's a group of about 5 of these males of a similar size. There's not much more that is as dignified as a kudu bull. Quite a stilted walk. I wonder if he's limping ever so slightly. It's one of those old stories about kudu. Whenever you stop to look at one kudu, you will see more. And there's one all the way at the back there. I don't know if you can see it, Wildy. There we go. Let's go see which one that is. I'm sure it's this group of 5 kudu bulls. Now, for those of you who pay a visit to the Great Kruger, or the Greater Kruger area, and you make a trip across to Skukuza, which is one of the largest, I think it is the largest camp in the Kruger area. There's an incredible bronze statue of 2 kudus fighting, stuck together. And it's actually not that uncommon for them when they do clash, for those twirled horns to catch each other. And they quite often trap themselves that way. It can even lead to the death of the males concerned, or having a good scratch. Imagine having built-in back scratches like that. Very useful. Looks as though he wants to come this way, so we'll just let him come to us. Sandparks emblem. That is the kudu head. And you can see why with this silhouette and with this level of dignity, they're one of the most striking antelope out here. Now, I discussed quite a bit this morning. I discussed about myself and Brent's trip to the Kruger. We actually saw the largest antelope species, which is a cousin of the kudu, the African eland. You forget, if you don't see those antelope for a while, you forget just how large they really are. He's stopped for a snack, so I think we can go forward. Luckily, we've got a really subtle approach. It's okay, boy. He's not going to let me come any closer without scaring him. Look at that. They always look as though they're wearing face paint. Like it's some kind of sporting colors or emblems. And so far, in terms of the impact that the drought has been having, kudu have shown an amount of resilience. Being a browser in the middle of a drought has its definite advantages. Those horns are stunning. Definitely in my top list of the most attractive antelope species. One of the reasons he was so nervous as we came in is that he'd heard this group of impala wandering through. And it was just making him, he was aware of the noise, but he wasn't sure what it was. Now, we've always spoken about the fact that animals rely on their sense of smell and their sense of hearing over a sense of eyesight. I've completely changed my mind about that because at this point I have seen what impala see and what they spot. It is next to impossible to be able to spot or to be able to sneak past impala without them spotting you. I was watching a cheetah in the Kruger Park try to approach and stalk an impala, and how on earth that impala saw her, and it was clearly sight. She was perfectly, the wind was perfectly in her favor. There was no way that they heard her or that they smelt her. You definitely don't want to mess with or challenge an antelope's eyesight, because I think that they leave us in the dust when it comes to spotting movement. Now, I mentioned earlier about that the fact that we saw the kudu's larger cousin. Okay, boy. The eland, the largest antelope species in the world. And Valeria was wondering if the eland is the same size as the African elk. Oh, sorry, not as the African elk. There's no such thing as an African elk, as an elk. And the answer is yes, they're very much roughly in the same region. I'm not sure of the exact weight of an elk, but an eland can weigh anywhere up to about sort of 900 to 1,000 kilograms, possibly even heavier. The largest one was about over a ton, so about 1.2 thousand kilograms, which is roughly equates to close to 2,000 pounds. So very, very heavy antelope. I'm not sure exactly how large or how heavy an elk can get, but it is roughly in the same ballpark in terms of shoulder height, as far as I know. Obviously, I'm working purely off what I know about them rather than having ever actually seen them. But an eland is a very large animal. Trying to get us a nice view. This should be quite a nice, at least nice light to view this kudu. Nibbling away. A really good question from Cindy, who's watching all the way in Florida. So Cindy's been counting kudu stripes and was wondering whether all kudu have 9 stripes on their backs or if it differs. We chatted a little bit about that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Cindy, I've never ever looked or never actually counted the number of kudu stripes. We chatted this morning about the fact that both Nyala and kudu, you can identify, if you want to, you could identify the individuals because each one has a slightly different arrangement of stripes. Now, I know for a fact that in Nyala, they definitely have different amounts of stripes. Kudu, Cindy, my guess, my thought, if I'm thinking back about my different kudu sightings, it's not always 9 stripes. But now that you've asked me that, I realize that I've never actually checked. I've never double-checked to see if there's more or less than 9 stripes. I've never counted. It's one of the reasons why I love these sorts of questions, is they bring up topics and things to think about that we wouldn't necessarily have thought of ourselves. If we can catch up with these buffalo, since our kudu have moved into rather dense vegetation, let's see if they've decided to pop out.
Hello everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Nicki, and I'll do some more introductions soon, but look what we found. Some ellies. I can see 3 at the moment. How's the, I'm going in here, Scotty D.
That's good.
Just gonna try and get you guys a better visual. And in the shade, bonus. I'm learning in this drive that it's very warm outside of final control. And turn on.
Perfect.
I was hoping almost that this was going to be the halftail or the ellie with the chopped off trunk, but it looks like these 3 are of a different herd. I can't see anyone else. What would you say this is? A mother and 2 youngsters, Scotty?
Yeah, maybe the rest of the herd is further ahead of them. These are trailing at the back.
I'm not sure how good Scotty's audio is, but he's saying maybe there's more further up. So hello everyone, what a way to start. Some nice beautiful ellies. Getting my first question. Hello, Miss Jen in Dallas. You've asked me which is more difficult, working in final control, behind the camera, or now presenting. I wouldn't say I've done presenting just yet. I'm getting there. I think I'm starting to shake slightly. I don't know why. It's my last day and I just want to have some fun with you guys and finally meet all of you. But stop smiling. Scott's got a massive smile on his face.
Proud of you.
Thanks, Scott. I'm going to start the car. Miss Jen, right now, presenting is definitely the most nerve-wracking. Camera, for me, is super fun. I really enjoy it. What's the one thing I'm quite sad about is that I didn't get to do a little bit more camera during the drives. But you know, things just worked out that way, which is fine. Oh gosh, cars, cool. Scott's already shouted at me for going too fast and him getting flung off the back, basically. So now I'm on my best behavior. I'm a little bit torn with what to do. Apparently Karula is up in the tree now. So I'm thinking we should make our way back there and check it out. And these ellies are going into thick bush, and I think windy bashing on my first drive, well, I'm not too keen for that. So yeah.
Ranger or Steve.
Thank you.
Call.
Thank you. But now I need to figure out where Karula actually is. But Jamie has some warthogs, so I'll see you guys hopefully back with Karula in the kill in the tree. Enjoy!
That is a very strange experience to hear that Nicki is linking to me. I bet that was an interesting experience for her. Shame. I'm glad that that was something she got to do before they leave. Well, at least I've been proved right on one score, and that's that both the buffalo and the warthog have popped out exactly where I expected them to, in the mud wallows in Impala Road, and I think that those warthogs are actually hoping that they might get a chance to have a wallow. Unfortunately for them, the mud is already occupied. Buffalo utilizing the spa possibilities of the bush. And there's the mom and the two piglets. This is not the very, very sick warthog that we've been seeing recently. I was shocked when I saw some of your screenshots as to what that ill female is really looking like. I assume that it's the one around Twin Dams that we've seen on a fairly regular basis. And there's a second pig. Hello, warthog. Two females and their youngsters. It could be that the two piglets we've been seeing belong to one to each female, or one to two, or two to one of the females. Hard for us to tell exactly until we see them suckle. Oh, buffalo's up. Maybe they'll have a chance to go and enjoy some of the mud wallow. There you go, you can see that thick layer of glutinous mud stuck all around him. A nice way of patching up injuries, as well as keeping cool on this hot summer's day. I'm quite surprised by the temperatures this afternoon. Definitely warmer than I was expecting. Let's see if we can sneak a little bit closer to these two cute little warthogs. As I mentioned this morning, there's a noticeable difference in the behavior of the warthogs around cars. Although I don't think we can push it much further. Oh, Wendy, I've forgotten how to drive you. Every car has its idiosyncrasies. Here we go. Hello, Warty. It's okay. Two little piglets and their mom. Munching away. You could just start to see the beginnings of tusks poking through. These warthog youngsters are a couple of months old now, so they're starting to grow real tusks. Something is squeaking frantically. I don't think it's the piglets though. It must be a bird hiding in one of the trees. Looks like two little females. They'll live together in their family groups with their mother and quite often an unrelated female, or an older female and her daughter. It seems as though Ranger Austin is on a serious form and has found an elephant, so let's pop over and have a look.
Hello everyone. We have just come across this beautiful Ellie bull, and he's actually opposite the bank of where Karula is in her kill. Karula's just jumped down, Gorge, and there's hyena. I just saw her jump out the tree. It's when the Ellie got the fright. Shall I go around?
Yeah, maybe keep going forward. That's the big tree up there that she's just jumped down.
Yeah, up in this big tree. I just saw out the corner of my eye her jump down, and a hyena took off after her. There's a hyena, I can see one now. Two, hyena. How's that angle? Fine.
Okay.
Oh gosh. Sorry, I'm forgetting to turn off the vehicle. Okay. Shame, man. So she's obviously just been chased out. She's got Ellie bulls, Karula, and hyena. That hyena doesn't look like any of the ones we know, I don't think. Can't see any notches in the ear from here. At first I thought it may be Corky.
Are you sure it was her that jumped out, Nix?
I'm pretty... Why, can you see her in the tree?
No. I'm just wondering if we shouldn't go up onto the bank and try and find her.
Yeah, 100%.
Ellie is still over there, but he's doing his own thing, so we'll leave him to it.
The reason why I think it was her is because I saw something almost, he's giving me a little head shake. I saw something flash and then the hyena took off after her, so that would make sense in my mind. Okay, I'm just gonna go a little bit, hopefully picture's okay in here. This is my absolute favorite, by the way, guys. Riverbed cruises are the best. I love it, and it's not often a view we can give due to the signal. It's so frustrating for me in Final Control, but now I'm out here, so it's all perfect. Schmerz Final Control, I hope the signal's okay. I really hope it's hyenas we can ID. That'll be really interesting. Oh gosh. Sorry guys. Okay. Well, Karula is not in the tree anymore. Let me turn off the vehicle. And this hyena, I can see the Ellie, she's looking at the Ellie down there still. This hyena, actually, if you look at, sorry Scott, when you come back to the hyena, look at the back of her back. It looks like in the corner there, I can see a scar. I don't know if this might be scar-backed female.
Yeah, I can.
Can you see the scar there? It's just where my finger's pointing, where the skin's missing. All right. So I don't see Karula in the tree. I think we should go
south down Twin Downs.
South down to, exactly. Chris, can you go again with that question, please? I think it was Janet. Hello, Janet in Maryland. You are asking me, oh gosh, multitasking here. There we go. You're asking me what is my favorite animal to view in the bush. Everything's different, actually, you know. Like for me, I love leopard. I do. And I think I started here with Quarantine and Kunuma and Karula and all these leopards. Sorry, my eye contact, I know it's important, but I'm just trying to keep a lookout for some spots. So I started off with all these leopards that I was trying to learn to ID in the control room. Obviously having the camera really helps. Do you think we should go this way? Hey? And even if I saw her run down here, no?
Yeah, wherever you're feeling happy. Anyway.
You can go back that way. I'd rather take your advice. So yeah, Janet, leopards would be my favorite. But I think when you're actually in the vehicle, Ellies for me are the most heart rate racing experience. That for me, I think on camera you guys don't actually realize how massive they are. And when you're in the vehicle and not in final control room or watching from your screen, it's very different and they are huge. They are so huge, but I love them, they're awesome. So being out in the vehicle, definitely Ellies, but I think viewing behind the screen, leopards would be my best. So I hope that's, there she is, well done Scott, see? Shame Karula.
Karula's now further south on Twin Downs Road, lying up on the road south of the village.
So there she is. Scott's just doing the game drive radio to update everyone. I'm not getting involved in that.
Copy, perfect.
Valerie, I think it was, you were asking about my first Ellie experience. I don't think I can remember my first one, but 100%. I've had a few scary moments when a big bull comes up to the car. I'll never forget one with Scott on Twin Dams Road. Came super close, not as close as the one from the other day though. And then a wonderful experience that the crew actually experienced was driving back from Arathusa one evening, and we stopped on Triple M, that main road, and we were surrounded by a herd of ellies. We turned off the cars, just the moonlight, and we could just hear them crunching and moving and see them actually because of the moon around us. So that definitely is one of my favorite times with ellies, in the nighttime actually. How bizarre. Awesome, guys. Well, I'm glad we found her. How did you know she was down here, Scott? Did you see tracks?
No, I just had a feeling.
Well done. I didn't think she'd loop back this way around. Maybe it's the direction of her cubs?
Yeah, boy.
Okay. I see. She doesn't look... How's her belly looking to you? I think I've seen leopards fatter than she is, hey?
Yeah.
You can see her suckle marks now nicely. You can see the orange around them, her teats. Is that the right word? Teats? Nipples?
Yeah, I think synonymous.
And someone asked you a question earlier. I got a question about the white belly. Now's a great example for that. You can see how different it is to the top of her back. It definitely stands out. Hello Chantal on YouTube. You'd like to know, or you said you've heard that Karula has a wow on her as a distinctive marking pattern, and that is correct. It's actually directly between her eyes, a little bit higher up than her eyes. If you were to look, maybe if you log on to Twitter, I'm sure people can put up some screenshots. And just above here, you have to be a little bit creative, but there is a definite W, little O, and another W between her eyes. That's a wow. So yeah, that's her markings. I don't even know her spot pattern, actually. For me, with eyeing leopards, it's something strange. I don't go on the spots. It's just how mainly their eyes. Like Mvula has those droopy, beautiful blue eyes. Quarantine has those dark eyes. He's got a dark face. Obviously, the sizes help to tell immediately if it's female or male. Karula, to be honest, again, it's the eyes for me. I can't even tell. Maybe you can see a side of the W's from this angle, but we'd probably have to be a bit closer. Can we go a bit closer? Can I roll, Scotty D? Yay, guys. James Richard, I know you were saying yesterday. We were lucky to have her for my last drive in Final Control directing. But I didn't expect this. Okay, let's look for the wow. So directly in between her eyes is semi-aligned, but it's not that one. It's just above that. It's almost the second row of spots. That's where you'll make out a wow. Okay, now she's getting up. Be quite interesting if we drive past there a little bit later once she moves a bit further, just to check where she was lying. Is she going to scent mark?
Ooh, Ranger Orsty.
There we go. That's right, Karula. You tell everyone who's queen here. Okay.
Keep going on the road.
I just want to see if you could look there. Can you see where she can be lying? All prints and everything. Okay. Hello, Karula. This is such a beautiful view. We're almost level with her. white tip under the tail. The rosettes, not spots. Ooh, check all the dust from her sneeze. Shame, man. Hello, Andreen on Twitter, I think. Andreen would like to know how much knowledge I had for the bush before I came here. Actually, no, I didn't I love the bush, I always have, and I've been fortunate enough to go on a few adventures with the family. But maybe 3 or 4 times before this, before I came to the bush. And I also have a friend who has, her dad's one of the landowners for Londolozi, actually. And yeah, so I've been lucky enough to go to Londolozi with her. That was twice, I think, in high school. But it wasn't so much learning that, it was more just the experience. But yeah, I've actually learned from Scott, Brent, James, and now Jamie as well. So it's actually only really been this year, to be honest. Take my foot off the brake. I think I'm gonna roll backwards. So let me just put it into gear. Oh, okay, I'll just keep my foot on the brake. So yeah, Andreen, it's mainly been this last year at WildEarth, sitting behind the director's seat, listening, learning from all the guys. That's really my only knowledge. And that's why I was like, it'd be quite fun to come out here today and test it out and see what it's like. Probably should have done a practice round or 2. But it's been great so far.
You nailed the scent mark.
Yeah, I saw that coming. Hey, yeah, how are you? Shame. Hello, Raisa. You say that I should have done this much sooner, and it's fun to see me. Well, I wish I could see all of you guys. I see all your tweets and emails and comments, and I basically guess we follow your conversations half of the time. And I feel like I know half of you as well. But thank you for the compliments, and I'm so glad that I'm eventually doing this, even if it is, I guess, on the last day. She's still panting. How long will those hyenas wait under there for now? Oh, where's she going?
I think for quite a while.
Is it? Another scent mark?
They are professionals at waiting for leopards to finish their business.
That was awesome, right towards us. Okay, well, now she's walking directly behind those bushes. Let's just follow her slowly, guys. Oh, and I'm lying down. Just have to get in a bit of angle. Not okay for you. One thing I must say, I cannot believe she has 2 cubs and we are now leaving. Oh my Lord. That has been quite a tough pill to swallow. I would love, as Scott, as you all know, goes on and on about leopard cubs, how much he'd love to see them and watch them grow up. And now she has 2, so I'm really hoping these little guys will... Ooh.
Took her by surprise.
Yeah. Oh, Jamie, whilst Karula takes her toilet break, Jamie has some dancing hyenas for you all, so go hop onto a vehicle and we'll see you soon.
From what I can hear, Nicki's doing a fantastic job. Luckily, after our conversation about the kudu, we've got some inyala bulls putting on the exact display I was hoping that they would. The one that we're looking at the moment, not quite fully into this whole dancing idea, but definitely fluffed himself up in response to the arrival of the male on the right. He's also looking a little bit fluffed up as well in response to fairly equal-sized bulls. No, they don't seem to be too keen on really challenging each other. The most interesting part of this dynamic is that there's actually a third male. He's quite hidden away, but he didn't go for any kind of displays or puffing himself up. He just straight up charged the other bull. Interesting little dynamic at play here between these three Nyala males. Oh, we were off to such a promising start, but it seems as though everybody's relaxed a little bit. And the bulls have decided to move off with relatively little fuss. Let's see if this happens again as the Nyala bull approaches the first one. He's looking at him with a certain reticence. And boys, are you going to continue your dance, or are you done for the day? Maybe it's just a little bit too hot. Not really worth the fight. There's no females in the area. Is he going to do anything? Nope. I'm just going to have some late lunch instead. Right, well, I didn't want to take you away from Nicki for too long. I was hoping they were going to put on a bit more of a show, but it seems as though that's not in their schedule for this afternoon.
Stop here. Oh, wrong way, sorry. Sorry. Oh, just got a little bit of slobber there. Just walking in front of the vehicle. I never thought I'd be doing this, guys. How awesome. So cool. Oh. Can't hear anything. You can see her walking along that prominent game path. I'm just going to roll forward, Scotty.
Maybe keep going all the way around onto the dam wall.
Okay. Oh, another St. Mark. She's marking quite regularly. Okay, guys, I'm just going to do another loop around. Pity there's no water in here for her to drink. Or is there? I don't think there is. Hey, no. To our Ferrari safari. This is where the monkeys were earlier. I wonder if they're still here. They're not alarm calling, so they might have moved off. Do you reckon I go a little bit forward, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. Just gonna let go of the brake. There you go. Oh, awesome. She's looking back in the direction of where her kill is. It's quite far away now. She's covered some distance, I guess. Maybe she can hear things we can't.
She's heading on exactly the same route where she was seen crossing south out of Juma this morning.
Really?
And she obviously has dropped off her cubs, and that's where she's obviously planning on heading back to.
Imagine we saw her crossing here with 2 little fur balls. That would be incredible. But I'm glad they're safe and away from that area. As we saw, it was getting a little bit chaotic there. And I can definitely tell you that it's starting to smell in that area. It's quite something getting a whiff of that kudu earlier. leopard crossing in front over what used to be a waterhole. It's now a mud patch, or not even, a sand patch. It's completely bone dry.
Not far from right up there. Okay.
Okay. Is it cooler there? Again, you can see clearly her nipple marks. So now she's laid down. We're probably about, how many meters would you say the boundary is?
150 meters.
And do you know where the cubs are? How far she took them into the property?
How far south, but we certainly won't be able to get anywhere near them. And
Yeah.
even if we could, we would probably leave, well, we would definitely leave her be. We simply don't know enough about the cubs, where they're currently being kept, to take any chances in trying to view them.
Oh, those are the monkeys.
I think it is the monkeys, some youngsters that have seen her.
There we
they go.
go. I don't know if you guys can hear, but those monkeys have only seen her now. Whilst Karula lies here, we're just going to send you to Jamie, see what she's got on her vehicle.
Again, don't want to take you away from Nicki's Karula sighting, but I did just want to show you this journey of giraffe slowly wandering away in the African sunset light. Beautiful sight. There's one straggling individual. Let's just try and get a quick view of him before they all disappear. And then I'm going to race off to set up for a fireside chat. Scott and Nicki's farewell fireside chat. Oh, he's gonna go drink. Let's see if we can get around quickly. I think that giraffe's gonna go and have a quick drink. Entertaining than watching them do the splits to try and reach down to water. Oh, we're gonna get there in time. It's always a very, very quick process, a giraffe drink. They don't like being down with their heads facing downwards. They find it a nerve-wracking They find it very, very nerve-wracking. First of all, they're incredibly vulnerable, more so than they might be with their heads up. But also because they are so perfectly adapted to getting blood flow right up to their brains against gravity that they've got very complex valve systems. And if they have their head down for too long, they actually start to get very lightheaded and can even, possibly even faint from the lack of oxygen to the brain. So if you watch a giraffe drinking, you'll find that it never really drinks for longer than 30 seconds at a time before it has to lift its head. Beautiful dark-colored female. She's torn between having a drink and following the rest of the herd. Here we go. Come on, girl, it's okay. You can see how nervous she is, keeping an eye on everything that's happening, making sure that there's no predators around before she puts her head down. Come on, girl. It's all right. There's nothing here, I promise. There she goes. Nope. Decided against the idea of stopping to have a drink. So in that case, since she's not going to lean forward, I'm going to race off to go and set up Fireside Chat. And in the meantime, let's find out what Karula is up to and who happens to be in the driver's seat this time.
So, welcome back everyone, and we've switched back to our initial roles. Nicki's now behind the camera and I am behind the steering wheel. We are going to have one last view of Karula coming straight past us, and she is about to cross south out of Djuma over an invisible boundary where animals are free to roam and whereas humans are not, for very good reason, but we're not going to go into that now. Let's just enjoy these last views as she heads back to her cubs. Now, I'm guessing that she would have left them for roughly about, call it 12 hours. She was seen very early this morning, crossing south over this boundary. We don't know how far south of the boundary she deposited those young little cubs.
Yeah, he's coming.
But she is heading back to them, and she'll probably return back to her kill later on this evening. There she goes. Goodbye, Karula, and I don't think I'm going to see you again for quite some time, so sad moments as she disappears. We will be able to get you a few more views though. I'm just going to swivel one last time. We should be able to get her drifting down this road. Look, he's going. There we go. The monkeys are still shouting at her, even though she's probably 300-400 meters away from them now. They can still see her. Here comes another scent mark. And who knows how far her territory does stretch into this property to the south of us, but she's a big wise lady, Karula, and she's been around the block, and she's got quite a large property for herself at the moment. What an action-packed afternoon. As soon as Nicki got behind the wheel, things started to really heat up. A herd of Ellies, then an Ellie bull, then Karula came flying out the tree past the hyena. Sadly, we didn't see that, but Nicki got a glimpse of it, and since then it's been non-stop action. I think she's hoping for a little bit of water in a little puddle there. I'm not sure if she's going to get lucky. No, shame, Karula. No more water in that little mud wallow. And what an awesome scene this is as she wanders off back to two, I'm sure, what are incredibly cute little fur balls. They'll probably be about the size of a domestic cat at their current age. At 6 weeks, yeah, they're probably the size of your average domestic cat. And that's where she's heading off to now. And thankfully for you guys, I'm sure in the next few weeks you will get some views of those cubs. So that's something really, really exciting to look forward to. But today has been awesome, and we couldn't have asked for a better send-off from the Queen of Djuma. Goodbye, Karula. Okay. Let's go and see if we can show you those monkeys which are still alarm calling. Beard, you would like to know how to say cool in one of the local South African languages called Afrikaans, and it is actually sweet, not cool, but it can be used for cool, certainly, and it's lekker. L-E-K-K-E-R, and that was a lekker sighting. A very, very lekker sighting.
Oh, Brady.
Nicki spotted a little.
They fly away.
It's to the right a little bit.
Okay.
A little red-backed shrike, and it's got something wrong with its head. What is going on with your feather dew? I'm not sure what that could be, but that is not how a red-backed shrike. It's the first
an Indian redback shrike.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of a mohawk going there. Interesting. Okay, so about 25 minutes or so left until the Fireside Chat that we are really looking forward to. So make sure you cancel any prior arrangements so that you can be there. That would be greatly appreciated. Ooh. Hello, Gracie. And I really loved your outfit that you wore to our tea party yesterday, so thank you for getting so dressed up. James made sure he showed me that, so thank you. Oh, here's a monkey here. Gracie, you mentioned that we probably should have invited Karula to the tea party that we had, because queens like tea and parties, and you are right, we probably should have, but I think with her little cubs, she's so busy at the moment, she probably would have had to tell us that she can only join us in a few months' time. But I do like the way you're thinking. Don't worry, monkeys. You can relax now. As you can tell, they have stopped alarm calling. Usually when they are alarm calling, they're right at the top of the tree so that they can see whatever it is that they are shouting at. This youngster's obviously feeling safe and has come down a little bit. Now, I'm going to ask Nicki to zoom out quickly, and I want you to all take a very close look at this tree, because you are going to get to see it later on, and it's going to be wonderful to piece together the sighting that we had in this very area. Now, we've had the monkey here. There's going to be something that you notice about this tree later on with the clip that we watch at the Fireside Chat. You're also going to notice that there will be some water in the waterhole, which Karula went and lay in. So it's all very, very applicable to something we're going to be seeing later. This exact area we're in now. And it's been so awesome building up memories over the year that we've been going on safari together on all these different roads. I'm sure a lot of you will always have something to remember the various areas by. Now I've got a few reasons to remember this area right now, the sighting we just had, and one that you're going to see a little bit later. That was hugely, hugely exciting. Well, Mission and Dallas, you've also reminded me of another memory that we've shared, and it's also from the same waterhole. It's dry now. I'm just going to show you guys now the view from afar. So take a look at that. It's that dried up dark soil that you can see in the center of your screen there. A few months ago, that was not full of water, but there was quite a lot of water in it, and within the water was catfish. And James and I both had a once-off fishing competition. No hooks, no line, no rod. Your bare hands only. And Mission, that was an incredibly fun experiment, and one that I'm glad we all got to share together. Sadly though, you did not see the fish that I caught, and I promise you I did. It just slipped out of my hands before you came back to me. Shame Nicki's having some trouble with the camera, so just give us a second, just hold it in the right spot there. There we go, a minor glitch. Okay, let's pop in and see if those hyenas are still waiting patiently at the kill, which I'm sure they are. Although, only time will tell. What would be interesting is to know when exactly is she going to return to the school after nursing the cubs, and whether she'll be there tomorrow morning I wonder, there's certainly large amounts of meat left there for her to feed on. Let's see if we can't fulfill Nicki's plans from earlier to try and show you her tracks where she lay down, which we should be able to do very easily, actually. Awesome, Nix. Good idea. Okay. So you can see a few little scuff marks, and if we start maybe up there, Nix. Here we can see, I don't know if you're in focus at the moment. It's difficult with this flat light. Here, the tracks, you can start seeing the tracks there. Toes in the front, pad at the back, and then if you keep coming down next, you'll see where she eventually lay down in this area over here. You can see quite a large scuff. That's probably from where her tail was, swooshing the sand. And obviously as she got up, she would have left a few more pug marks and then continued along. Here's the last track here heading towards us. Well done. So, Samantha, you're wondering about my buffalo thorn attack of my t-shirts. One of my t-shirts had a big hole in the back, and James is very excitedly getting a hold of the final control room on channel 2, which is my channel, which you shouldn't be on, which is somewhat distracting to me. But what I can assure you is that James, who is going to be hosting the Fireside Chat at the moment, or not at the moment, a bit later, is in high spirits, and he's just apologized to me for clogging the radio waves with some excited banter. He was actually speaking to Kirsty fluently in Shangaan, which she wouldn't have understood a word of. Okay, well, the ripe smell of maturing kudu flesh is now upon my nostrils. We're in luck though, because it looks like the hyena is still here. Probably going to be the best view we have for now. There's not too much to see of the kill up in the tree from this angle. Ooh, what has happened to you? You look like you've been in the wars. How is it that you've got blood on your head? Your ears are looking very tatty. Can't really see whether she's got that scar on her back. The other angle we had earlier did indicate like she did have a big scar on her back, but she's looks like a big old lady. The other one, oh, interesting. There is a steppe eagle up in the tree, right at the top of your screen there next. There we go. Can you believe it? Look at those long stovepipe leggings. This is a very good characteristic that it is in fact a steppe eagle. Next, you can maybe also pop an ND filter down. We probably don't need that last one anymore. There we go. There it goes. And you sneaky little thing, you're hopping around, snacking on Karula's food while she's away, but that is the benefit of being able to fly, unlike these poor hyena who are stuck at the bottom of the tree. I wonder how long the steppe eagle's been lurking here for, knowing that there's a whole bunch of food that it can feed on. But it's moved off. There's a portion of the kill you can make out vaguely there that Nicki's zooming in on now. You just see a lighter shade in the center of your screen. Those are the legs. It looks like the hind quarters of the young kudu. And at the base of the tree, there's a slightly younger hyena. Look at the difference between the two. The one, you clearly see the spots, you clearly see the fur. That's typical of a young hyena, and a slightly older hyena in the foreground. Very, very different scenario. Looks like that youngster's got itself into quite a comfy position there. Look at how its back legs are positioned. I think its back right leg may have pins and needles, though, when it is time to get up. What you can also see, which is quite a unique angle, is its claws sticking out at the end of its toes. And these are clearly left in the tracks on the ground, whereas the tracks of Karula we were just looking at now will lack those claw marks, as they will only protract those claws when they need to latch onto something, either a prey or a tree that they are climbing. So you guys are in for a long wait. Karula has just crossed south out of Djuma, and I'm forecasting that you'll be at least 3 or 4 hours minimum before she returns. I wonder where she is now, whether she's got to those cubs yet, whether she's called them out of their hiding place and they've come bundling out, desperate to see her, desperate to have some more milk. All moments that I'm sure you will be able to share in the future with James and Brent and Jamie, as well as Steph. I'm sure he's going to be also taking a few more drives now. Wonderful. Well, because we are almost 99% certain that nothing else is going to happen here, we're probably going to just keep going, start making our way a little bit closer towards the Fireside Chat. I mean, the one thing that could happen now, but I don't foresee it happening, is that another leopard could come in onto the scene if it smelt this kill. They are opportunistic. Leopards will scavenge. If Tingana was anywhere near here, he would certainly cash in on the opportunity. He's the most likely candidate. Wouldn't be likely to find a female in this area because this is Karula's turf. And it is also Tingana's turf. Okay, we're going to leave these two sleepy hyena. Good luck, guys. I do not envy you. You are going to have to display some remarkable patience in order to get a few morsels of that kudu. Marvelous evening, and the relief once the sun has dipped below the horizon is quite something. It is a very, very soothing temperature now, whereas when we headed out initially it was blisteringly hot. See if we can get that go-away bird next, at the top of this marula tree. And it's calling. It's one of my favorite calls. Quang! Oh, well done, Nix. Great work there. And at least you got to see it, and see it call, and see it fly all at the same time.
I don't know how much it was flying.
No, you got it. You did well. I was watching your work through the little monitor here. The other joy about the sun going down is it tends to mean that the flies also tend to become slightly less active, although there still are a couple buzzing around me. And yeah, there's one on my right ear now buzzing around. I don't know if it's still there. My worst fly episode ever was filming Steph on a bushwalk. And I had my earpiece in my one ear, like now, and my other ear was unprotected. And we were filming a sequence live to Nat Geo TV, and there was a fly in my ear buzzing. And I was having to hold the shots. It was quite a test of my bravery, and I thought I did well. And since then it's been fairly easy to deal with the ones now, like this one here chilling on my face. But if there's 3 or 4 of them that simultaneously do their little moonwalk, then that causes a little bit of a shudder of the nervous system. Donna in South Carolina, thank you very, very much for reminding me about my one and only major crash whilst taking you guys on a live safari. And we were trying to get a view of a lilac-breasted roller, for those of you who weren't with us, and I was peering up into a tree, not looking where I was going, and as I looked forward, we were moving too quickly, and this big marula tree, a big, ginormous tree, was directly slap bang right in front of us. And
I don't think you even looked forward. I think you just...
yeah, Nicki says, yeah, I didn't even look forward. I think I realized it was there once we crashed into it. And Donna, that was absolutely hilarious. So thank you for reminding me of that day. So many happy memories we've shared together. And so many of them have been documented, which is wonderful. It's not only that we've got this wonderful memory that we've shared together, but if you want to relive that moment with a little bit of snooping around, it won't be difficult to find, I guess. So sharing and documenting the adventures of Safari Live is, or has been, a remarkable opportunity to be involved in, and I'm hugely grateful for that. It's also been wonderful to watch the Safari family grow over the year that I've been here and get to know new names and faces and get to see people develop into seasoned safari goers. An experience that cannot be reenacted anywhere else on the planet. It's here or nowhere. And that I'm truly, truly grateful for, as we should all be. Many people don't know about this, which is the sad thing. But I know many of you are safari disciples that are spreading the word, and we thank you for that. As I will be doing, wherever I end up and wherever Nicki ends up, we will continue to tell people to get their acts together and jump on board. Treehouse waterhole now. Well, interesting to see how much moisture is back in or still left in here. But it doesn't look like too much. It really has dried up quite quickly. Shame, a tiny little puddle for the animals. That'll still be useful for the animals that wallow in the mud, but I'm not sure if that's going to be good for drinking. So the warthogs and buffalo are going to enjoy that little pond. And not much else. Happy memories of a lot of sightings of Kunyuma, a young male leopard, who very often we used to find up around, there's a few more tiny little wallows up there. We very often found him up lying at the water's edge. The water's edge used to go all the way up, and this whole area here used to be full of water. Other special memories, again, that I've just been reminded of. Thanks, Marilyn, you've loved the scorpion sightings that we've shared, and especially those with the UV torch. And it is one of my favorite things to show people, so I'm glad it is one of the favorite things that you remember seeing and doing with me. Only once did we have the fortunate opportunity to have one that was moving about, and okay, let me turn around, Nix. Nicki's seen some pretty clouds that she would like to show you, so I'm just going to get into a good spot for that. So Marilyn, yes, the one sighting I didn't manage to actually get one in my hand. It was moving from A to B, and we knew it was a friendly species, not very aggressive, that you can literally just pick up by the stink, plonk on your hand and let them relax, and well, they do relax, they're not very aggressive. So we did have one in the paw for one sighting, but the rest were just in trees, which was still beautiful. Okay, here we go, Nicki. Nicki's going to take on a little bit of a pink cloud bonanza. Wonderful. Look at that. And we were spoilt with an incredible sunrise this morning, and now this beautiful, beautiful sunset with bright pink clouds. Magical. Thanks, Nix. Good initiative.
Thank you.
Okay, well, the good news is that it sounds like the Fireside Chat is all up and ready to receive us, and we're only a couple of minutes away, so we're going to continue making our way on there. We don't want to be late for this very important function. And just a reminder for any of you who may have just logged in, this is my final Safari Live adventure with all of you. So if it's your first time joining, all I can recommend is that you keep tuning in and get to know the other presenters and get to know this experience while I'm gone. But because it is my last night, we are going to be doing a Fireside Chat, which is basically just a chat around a campfire. And we're going to look through a few clips of the past and moments that I've shared with you guys over the year, and also chat and answer some of your questions and just have a little bit of a send-off around the campfire. So really looking forward to that, and you don't have to go anywhere. We're going to take you right to that spot right now and jump off the vehicle and sit around the campfire. Unless, of course, we bump into something on the way there, which is possible. It would be a bit of a catch-22. Imagine if we bumped into Tingana now, and we had the Fireside Chat to go to. Decisions. Or who knows, maybe, if we're very lucky, a leopard will merely join us at the Fireside Chat. It won't be the first time that happens, and it was very early in my Safari Live career. I've probably only been here 2 weeks by then, I think, when Hayden was sitting at the Fireside Chat waiting for Peter to come and join him, but Peter was a little bit delayed because he was following a male leopard called Kudu, the same leopard I was actually talking about that we've found a lot of times at this waterhole behind us, Treehouse Waterhole. And you wouldn't believe that the leopard actually climbed into a marula tree directly behind where Hayden was sitting. And you could see the campfire, Hayden, and the leopard all in one shot. Fascinating. So it has happened in the past. I fear that it probably won't happen ever again. But it just goes to show that anything can happen whilst on safari. Well, we haven't bumped into Tingana, but you would have noticed we have bumped into some ellies. And we'll just very slowly coast past this lady and a youngster. Hello, you two. I hope that lots of rain falls and that you've got lots of vegetation to feed on in the coming months. Looks like you're enjoying a big juicy mouthful there, so not too bad. Okay, great. Well, like I said, we don't want to be late for our date at the campfire. It sounds like you guys are going to head across there now, and we'll either see you a little bit later or we'll meet you there.